What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Quick Lab. It's 6:30 a.m. I just got off work at the firehouse. I'm sleepy, but let's go ahead and knock this out. Episode 3, sampling with Maschine. Yeah, boy, let's go. Alright, so today we're going to be looking at Maschine and how to sample within Maschine itself. I have a record here, Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. It's a very popular record. You'll notice a lot of popular songs have used samples off this record. But what we're going to do, we're going to get started off with how to import a sample into Maschine off of a record. Now you can also sample things off of a like an iPod or MP3. You just have to make sure that you have an audio interface that also goes along with that. As you guys have seen in the past, I have an M Audio Fast Track Ultra, and I have my inserts, for the record to come in on the back of the M Audio in inputs 5 and 6. So in order to make sure that my sounds come into Maschine, I need to go into Maschine and set that up. You can do that by going into File and click on Audio and MIDI settings, click on Routing, and then click on Inputs, and you can see how Maschine maps out your interface. So in inputs 5 and 6, I have my record player coming into. So I just need to make sure that I map 3 left and right whenever I want to sample. So I have that set up. On Maschine, I'm going to go ahead and hit sampling, and you'll see here on the screen how it shows my input. It's set on input 1 left, so it's only recording 1 input. So I need to change that to input 3 left and right, because I have it run in stereo. You make sure that your source is external, because you want to transport something that's outside Maschine into Maschine rather than internal, which you'll end up sampling Maschine itself. So I have that set for external. Mode is detect, so when I hit start right here, it will detect when the sound comes in so that I can begin recording. Now on the screen you can hit the speaker button right here on the right to monitor the sound that's coming in. So I click that. I'm going to go ahead and start the sample. So when I'm done recording in, I just hit stop like you see me do there, and then I have my sample laid out here. And now as you can see, if I hit this, it's taken the sample and recorded it in. Now the beauty of Maschine is that I can chop up the sample any way that I want to. I can separate it throughout these 16 pads. There's a lot of options in the controller. I can either do it here or I can do it on the screen. I'm going to do it here on the controller. Anybody that has an MPC or anything, they can get used to doing it, on the controller. And, those people that like, computer-based stuff, you can do it on the computer. So there's multiple ways to do this. So now that I have my wave imported, I can begin editing it. So I hit edit. I can choose where it starts. Now I want it to start where that beat drops. And using the screen, it's a little bit easier to fine-tune the wave. Over here you can only see so much. On the computer you can kind of fine-tune it. So now that I have the start where I want it to start, I hit audio, I hit truncate. Truncate will delete out where I want it to start. So hit truncate. It shortens the wave. If you accidentally did something that you didn't mean to, hold down Shift and hit undo on the Maschine, And then also now that I want to take off some of the end where the rest of that track comes in. You can do this all in one sequence. You don't have to like do the start, hit truncate. You can do them both using this start and end. So hit truncate again. Now I'm ready to chop up the sample. Maschine has a couple different ways where you can chop up samples. You can do it in a couple different modes, 3 different modes. You can do it in split, where it takes the wave and chops it up evenly into 16 different samples. But it might not all be even. So you can do grid, where you can do it in a timing sequence. You know, see how it breaks it up evenly across the grid, like that. Or you can do it in detect, and what it'll do in detect is it will try to detect where to break the sample up. So if you're sampling drums, it will be a little bit more clear in the wave, where you'll actually be able to see, you know, when the kick, snare, hi-hat hits, things like that. So it can detect that. A lot of people will use that when sampling drums. That way you can chop it up. It will chop it up automatically, so there's not a lot of work to be done. And then you can change the sensitivity up and down to detect, you know, where the drops are. See over here how it's kind of breaking them up as I turn the sensitivity up. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to go into split. I want to edit each one of these pads individually. You can change the slices down to 4, 8, 16. I'm going to stick with 8. And then now I want to edit each portion of this. See how it's not exactly where I want it to be. I want to take those drums first. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take this first pad, and I'm going to break it up how I want to here in the edit panel. So I hit edit, and then I can choose where it starts and ends. And it edits it in real time. So this zooms in a little bit if you need to get a little bit more on point. You can use this to zoom in and out. And then, so now it took just those drums, which is what I want. Zoom out a little bit so I can see the second part of the sample. See, I just want this, so chop it up. Got the sample chopped up the way I like it. Now what I can do now, you have these options up here to apply or apply to, or apply to. And what you can do is you can apply the sample to a new group, so it chops up the sample exactly how you have it laid out here. So I hit apply to, I hit group B or a different group, and now it's taken what I just did and put it in a new group without touching the original sample. Now if I hit apply, it will take what I've chopped up and put it all on one track. So then I can apply, you know, the pitch, I can change things like that. People like to do this if they're recording specific melodies. Then I can use the keyboard function to play up and down the scale in that way. So I hit apply. So you can do vocal or phrases that way. But for the quick lab today, I'm just going to go ahead and use what I just did in group B with the samples that I have here. I'll let you see. So now that's a problem. So all the samples are playing over top of each other. In order to fix that, what you can do is select, you know, a pad, go into modules, under the sound, because there's different modules for each group. Hit sound, hit modules, and you'll see here we have polyphony and a choke group. In order to get the sample to stop after I hit the next button, you want to assign each pad to a choke group. They can all be on the same choke group, so whatever grouping of pads I choose, no matter what pad I hit, it will cut the other pad off. I want to change this down to 1 because if I leave it up at 8, it doesn't quite do it. So go all the way down to 1, polyphony of 1, choke group 1, and I have to do that for each pad. So each pad I go in, I want them all to be on the same choke group. Now I can assign, you know, different pads to different choke groups. So all 4 of these pads are on the same choke group. You know, I can put them all on the same choke group, but I can put these in a different choke group too. So I select that, change this to choke group 2. And so these pads can play, but these will still play over top. So you can, you know, have them separated out in whatever way you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and make all these choke group 1. So I want them all on the same group. Okay. So now that we have that all set, somebody asked me in a previous video, like how did I get it to, like I can edit the sample even further down. So for instance I have, you know, this, so for instance I can break that down even further. So what I'll do is I'll hit sampling, and then it has that section highlighted. I can do the exact same thing I did earlier when I assigned it to this group, and I can do that by hitting sampling. I have that pad selected, hit apply to, and then I hit a pad up here. So now it applies, I'll get out of this, and now it applied to this. Then I can break this down even further by going back into sampling, hitting audio. It has that same sample, the entire thing listed there, but only this part copied from the second one. I can hit audio, hit truncate, and now it only has this listed on the screen, this particular wave. And then I can go down and chop it up even further. Hit truncate again, and now it's the original, and that's been chopped it up even further. So you can do that with any particular sound. Alright, now I've already determined that the BPM is 131, so now we're going to go ahead and break this down and lay it out. So now I have that laid down. I can quantize it by hitting Shift and 5. It says quantize here. Each pad has an alternative function. If you hit Shift, you'll see it on the pad itself. It says it above each pad. I quantize it, hit restart. Alright, I got a new kit loaded up. And so here's, I played some drums over top of it, so here's what it sounds like. Alright, so now that I got that, I want to add some hi-hats. Let's go and do a little beat making while we're here. So I want to lay some hi-hats, but I want to like alter them a bit, like to get like the feel of a real hi-hat. So you can do that by selecting pad mode and hit 16 velocity, and breaks the velocity down into 16 equal parts. So you can see, different velocities for each pad. So I'm hitting them the same because they're velocity sensitive pads. But if I switch it to that, I can just hit them without worrying. It's got an automatic level. I don't have to worry about nothing. So let's go ahead and lay that down. Quantize that, and as you can see right here, the velocity is perfect. Now I want to add some and get back into the edit screen. I can also add effects to each and every one of these different sounds, or I can add effects to the entire group, for instance this one, or I can add effects to the master. I can select it by doing that up here. In a nutshell, that's how to sample. Just make sure you got your choke group set. If you want to cut off the sample, and then you can bring in different parts of the sample across more pads and chop it up even more. However you guys want to do it, it's really up to you. And you can use the controller itself or the interface on the computer. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do this, especially in Maschine. So that's sampling in Maschine in a nutshell. I'm sorry if this rambled, but now it's like 7:30 and I haven't slept in 36 hours, so I'm gonna go to sleep. Sleepy time. Bed. That's where I'm gonna lay my head, right on there. Alright, so that's the best I could explain Maschine. I'm sorry, I'm just really sleepy. If it rambled and didn't make any sense, I'm sorry. F major from Native Instruments, Justin Myracks, has a tutorial on YouTube. I'll put the link below. He explains everything I just did in a more cohesive way, and it seems scripted to me. It's like way too good. Like, how do you, unless they rehearsed it a bunch of times, I don't know. I'm just rambling now. Anyways, next week I think I'm gonna talk about interfaces, hooking things up. I get a lot of people asking me how to hook up whatever they are using. And I'll break down like how general it, because every interface is different, but they all generally work the same. So I'll break that down. That's a lot easier than I've been kind of straining myself the past couple weeks. So anyways, I will holla at y'all next week. Peace.